Hello, good morning. This is Sharif Awad from Ontario International Film Festival. I am very happy to welcome writer-director Susant Misra from Josef film that we just screened a moment ago, and also Mr. Ashok Mahapatra, the producer of the film. How are you?
Oh, fine, Sharif. Thank you for calling us. And I'll
Yes.
leave most of the question and answer sessions to Grant. He is the director and the conductor.
Yes, Mr. Susan, I was wondering because you directed a lot of films, screened worldwide, and
Yeah,
also you are teaching cinema in
yeah.
India. And I believe that the film is based on a short story written by your father, correct?
Written by Mr. Ashok Mahapatra's father,
Yes.
the
But
producer's father.
yes, tell me, what did you both think that this is a suitable time to adapt this short story into the feature film we have seen today?
Yes, see, in the whole world today that we live in is a chaos. The whole reality that we live in is a chaos. But beyond that reality, there is something which is very unseen, which is parallelly happening. So, in this short story, uh, b- b- at one level, you have a plain story going, but at the other level, which you cannot see, that is a higher reality, which appealed to us, uh, which appealed to us. Uh, so that had enough of the enough material for a feature film to catch on to that higher reality and film. So, if you've seen the film, it's operating at two levels actually. One is a plain story about a boy who is sent for training, but he becomes an alcoholic. He misses his mother, but parallelly also, as the film unfolds, in the end you see life repeating itself, and the higher reality takes place. So we thought that it's a very interesting subject that can be filmed into a feature.
Hmm. Mr. Ashok, uh, is this your first film as a producer, or did you produce other films before?
No, no, it is actually my first film as a producer. And, this has been in the making for more than 5 years. It's a film which is a tribute to my father. And he also, like me, started writing uh, as a writer on stories after he retired from his service. His service means something which was giving him his bread and butter and earning. Uh, our family has been a family of creative people. One way or the other, we saw it, and then when I read this particular story, I had been thinking that yes, this is very uh, interesting to make. Like Sushant said, it's on two planes, and on two planes you have to bring it out. And in today's reality with the mainstream, we wanted to bring out something which will live forever, not as a passing thing. That means you have to show life in its truth.
Yes. And while I was watching the film, Mr. Susan, today, I was wondering what happened to Joseph. Because we cut from his childhood until
Yeah,
the day he returned to his village. Hmm?
yeah.
So I was wondering what happened to him that made him become alcoholic, and also maybe he lost his faith as well. What do you think happened to him during these long years?
One thing early on in the film, we know that he was missing his mother before he was sent for that vocational training of a cook.
Yes,
He was missing his mother. But as he returns, the father gets messages that he is becoming an alcoholic, and therefore they send him back to the father. Now he uh, he becomes a very good cook at one level, but his inner life is always traumatized that he's still not able to mm, adjust to this whole idea or the fact that the mother had left him when he was a child. So he was trying to find out, and we see whether that was the reason for his becoming an alcoholic or what is the reason. So in one of the scenes, there is a discussion why one becomes an alcoholic. One just becomes an alcoholic. There is no reason, but his inner striving was to find a reason why his mother had left him. And
yes,
although he was nurtured by the father, this question he could never find the answer. And gradually, as the story unfolds, uh, he has this whole communication with his unseen mother who had left him at one level. At another level, that he was leading a very normal life till the end of the film, where we find a kind of life repeating itself with Rajula, with the child, and she was also trying to do that. And he gets a kind of fulfillment when he takes her to the father, and um, mother and child to the father. So this is the whole cycle of life, which is unseen actually, which is not visible to the normal eye, but you can call it coincidence, you can call it, but uh, but very strangely also in the story, it's a real life. It is drawn from real life. It actually happened in the foothills of the Himalayas. So this is a pointer that the whole world that we live in is at one plane, but there's some higher truth, which is higher reality, which is affecting us in day to day life also, which we cannot see. So I think after getting Rajula and the child to the father, Joseph would have realized the higher truth. I don't know whether he will continue as an alcoholic, but I don't think he will continue as an alcoholic after that.
yes. Mr. Ashok, is there special characteristics of the region where the story takes place? You know, this part of India that you can tell us about.
Yes, a characteristic is, you see, this has been over the period of time where you have all these, philanthropic uh, Catholic missionaries who went with all good grace to build the uh, hospitals, schools, and everything. But when these things did come up with conflict with the surroundings, in the sense that these hilly areas had were basically people who were living in tribes. So the tribes and they think there was a dichotomy, but still the gradual conversion of the tribals by the missionaries, and the missionaries did a lot of good things, but they had also in their own way of propagating Christianity. So these are all things which come in, and in fact, when the church, if you see, it's a church which is over 100 years old. Means it's It's about 100 years old. Even the bungalow where you see Joseph cooking, that also where we filmed was over 100 years old. So these things do happen. And like Sushant said, when my father in his working life went around the entire country, and he has been he wrote stories based on what he has seen. And this was one of the uh, things which he had seen, and it was a real life is which he was able to put pen to paper, and then it became so sensitive, and that it uh, could be made into a real life movie.
Yes. Yes, Mr. Susant, I was wondering how, one of the veteran actors of India, Victor Banerjee, was involved in the film. How did you manage to cast him? Because I remember him since I saw Passage to India, maybe a
Yeah,
long time ago. I was a
yeah.
child, I think.
Actually, we were very happy to have Mr. Banerjee in our film. First of all, when we sent the story and the synopsis, when he read it, in fact, Mr. Banerjee stays in Mussoorie, which is again the foothills of the Himalayas. He stays there, the quiet basement of the hills. So when he read it, and in fact, Mr. Banerjee also is involved in some charity work in some churches in that area, in Mussoorie area. So,
Yes,
so when he read it, he immediately identified with the character, and he normally doesn't do much work these days, but he immediately responded and he said that I love the story and I would like to be a part of it. So immediately, within a day or two, he decided, and we were so happy that we found the right face to play the father, uh, and we met him. And as we spoke, we of course, all religions meet at one point, Christianity and all religions, if you look at it. Although this film has a beautiful Christian base, but at a higher level, everything meets. And he immediately got into the character. He got into the character, and he said that I'm going to do it. So that gave us a lot of confidence that we have someone who is actually there in the foothills, working, helping tribes and all, as is one of his passions. At the same time, he has identified with the character. So I think we got a lot of confidence from there to take to proceed with the film.
yes, sir. Mr. Ashok, you told me that you worked before this film in the United Nations, and this is your first task as a producer. How do you like it so far?
It's a wonderful journey. It was a steep learning curve, definitely, but I have no regret on it, and it definitely is now on. And we, of course, we are in our way to look at how we can go further with it, and definitely we are not going to stop here. And the transition was nice, difficult, but very interesting. Well, I must say that, once having worked for 45 years from the age of 17 until I was 62, into the in the various sectors of the shipping industry, and finally landing up with the shipping side of the United Nations, I felt it was time that I should explore something different. And being from the creative family that we are, means the previous generation, everyone either is a writer or a poet or a storyteller, one way or the other. I said, let me add to that. So difficult, but very interesting.
Yes, sir. I have here a question online. Can you see it on the screen? Uh,
Yeah.
was it difficult to shoot the movie in the mountains and isolated villages in terms of production? And have you encountered any particular difficulties?
No, not at all. The only difficult part was to carry the crew, equipments, everything up there because there's no direct communication. You had to, from Delhi, which is the capital of India, New Delhi, you had to go to a place called Katgodam, then get down there, and from there is no train communication. So from there again, take road by road, reach the locations. But the people there were very hospitable. Although very few films are shot, some documentaries were shot. Nowadays, of course, a lot of work is happening, but people were very nice. The only problem was communicating. It was very cold, but there was no difficulty as such. It's a different terrain. That's it. But the beauty of it, the church and the beauty was it overscored that there was no. Maybe the physical strain was there a little bit. I don't think we faced that kind of a real problem shooting.
Yes, sir. Mr. Ashok, right now, the beginning of this year was this COVID problem, and the film started to circle into film festival. Was it screened right in Indian cinema or not yet?
No, we have not screened it in Indian cinema because you see, the moment we started getting it and we just got it cleared out of the censors and we are just planning it, then we got into this COVID situation where
Yes,
all the film halls were the only place that it did screen once, means for the when we made it to the Oscar nomination, the first list of long list of 341 films. That was the only time it has screened anywhere on a big screen. But
yes,
other than that, that was only for the academy people. But other than that, for public view, it has not been screened as yet.
okay. So it was submitted like the Indian submission for Oscar consideration, correct?
Not Indian submission, it was a direct submission by me.
Yeah,
Uh,
yourself. Yes,
and we made the cut. But we
yes,
made the first cut, but that itself was very pleasing. But we didn't make it beyond that. Beyond that,
yes,
it is very tough. And honestly, I don't have the logistic support to go around. You know how the academy is. So
yes. Yes, I think you must screen the film as well as Los Angeles, and in a special timeline, and a
yeah,
lot of promotion in trade magazines in the United States, of course.
yeah.
Yeah, and yes, Mr. Susan, tell me, are we preparing a new film soon?
Yeah, we keep working and whatever appeals to we get interested. So only thing is that because we don't do mainstream films, uh, they're all parallel. They're all I don't know if you can term it art house films. It's very difficult
Yes,
to raise funds. It's
yeah,
world over. I mean, we have been in the line for so many years. So we every film has its own difficulty. So, work goes on, and we have ideas. Um, Fingers crossed, we'll try to make another film very soon.
hopefully. Yes, yes. And Mr. Ashok, do you have any other projects preparing something for next year, let's say?
We, like Sushant said, yes, we are on it. Uh, like also I said, I'm not stopping here. It is we will make, and like he said, art house films. or parallel cinema, whatever you call it. The difficulty is the uh, funding part and various alternatives.
Yeah.
But yes, we are definitely, we are not stopping here. We are continuously working, and it's a good thing. The costume designer is my daughter-in-law, so and my son is also with us into the game. So we are all into it, and we are working on it. And let's see. I mean, I do hope we will make. These will be all sensitive uh, life screen issues rather
Yes.
than mainstream uh, Inception or Star Wars. Yes, they attract box office audience, but that is not our this thing. We want to make films which is actually uh, poetry on cinema rather than act.
Yes, sir. Mr. Ashok Mahapatra, producer, and Mr. Susant Misra, writer and director of Joseph. I want to thank you very much for joining us. I know it is early morning in India and
Yes.
here in Egypt as well. And I wish you all the best of luck for the rest of the year, for the screening of the film, and also for your upcoming projects and collaboration. And all of thank you very much as well for submitting the film to Ontario Film Festival. And wish you all the best. And thank you for joining us again.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so much.
Sharif, and my greetings and thank you to Ontario International Film Festival for giving us this honor. And I am really pleased and honored that we have got been screened here. And I do hope to see all of you all and have the same kind of support from the background that all of you all are. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye
Thank you
bye.
very much. Bye bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye.